Manchester United, I saw my face and it was a bit of relief, and I don't want relief after. I want to have the enjoyment and the way we play. We come here and the way we played, it was us. And for me, it was the most important thing. At the end, you can win or lose. They have a lot of quality up front. In any ball, any direct play, any set piece, they can score a goal. We cannot rely on that, but the things that we had to control, I think we did them and played really well.
Tell us about the way the goal came about. Is that something that's been worked a lot on the training pitch?
Yeah, we do, obviously, and I think it's a great action. And when I saw B getting the ball, and I called his name, and luckily he laid it off for me, and I knew I had to hit it first time, and I trust my left foot there as well, luckily. And like I said, I knew I had to hit it first time and try to hit a back post, and it went in, yeah, nicely.
The goalkeeper today, how big a decision was that to play David Raya? What was you thinking?
For me, it's like playing Fabio Vieira. It's nothing different. I have 11 players. They have to pick, and I will pick them. And we want 2 players that are top. And I know that culturally is different, but I will change the centre back, and I did it with Gavi. I will change the football. I will change the keeper, and it's okay.
Where do you think you are now in your performance? You just got 1 point on the board in terms of a challenge here so early into the season.
The challenge is the reality. I was expecting us to get more points on the season on the board from the feel of the group in pre-season. The performance levels have been there. I don't think we're a million miles off today. You just play a really top side, and I thought they played very well. The performance levels are about, but the details kill you in football. You know, the details at both ends of the pitch. We've been guilty on both ends, quite obviously, and that's the effective part of football. You know, the bit in the middle. You can all, talk about styles and ways of playing, all of that. But at the end of the day, the 2 boxes are the most important thing, and we're getting punished in one, and we're not taking advantage of the other.
And maybe we'll come on to them defensively in a while. And he can talk about styles, but in essence today, that was really, really comfortable, wasn't it, for Arsenal?
For Arsenal, it was, yeah. I mean, Arsenal found it difficult at Goodison in recent seasons, lost more often than not, and they would have come to Goodison today expecting a difficult game, a really intense performance from Everton. I think in Sean Dyche's first game last season, I think the blueprint was set of how Everton should be playing. I've played in so many games where teams come to Goodison Park, you get in their faces, you make it intense, you press, you win the ball back, you make contact with the opposition. And this is last season.
His first game in charge,
and this is at less than a minute into the game. Arsenal trying to knock the ball around, they're not allowed to. Mikalenko making contact, forces them back. Yes, it was a foul, but Arsenal certainly knew they were in a game. Odegaard having to replace his boot. This was 20 seconds later. Everton midfielders running forward, not overly concerned with what's behind them because that's somebody else's job. Let's get forward, win the ball back high up, and from this position, it's so much easier to counter-attack. Bodies into the opposition penalty area. It didn't work out on that occasion, but they set their stall out early in that game and went on to win it eventually. This was today. This was Everton's reaction from the kickoff. And I'm just going to run this through. Everton don't actually show any intensity. They want to just drop off. They want Arsenal to have the ball. And we're talking about a team that potentially could go for the title this season. They don't put any pressure on. Not sure if they're forcing Arsenal down one side of the pitch or not. Doesn't seem quite clear. Then you see Decore and McNeil doing the full-back's job. Get into midfield, force the opposition down.
Which is what they did in February.
Absolutely. But look how easy that pass is across midfield to Declan Rice. Now they can switch the play. Arsenal, now suddenly the whole team's got to come across to the other side of the pitch, and Arsenal comfortable early in the game, where Goodison Park is an intense place to play football. When the home team are on form, the crowd want to get involved. They don't allow the opposition midfield to feel comfortable yet today. I mean, look how passive Everton are as a team. Declan Rice won't believe he's come to Goodison Park and had this much time on the ball. But OK, Everton eventually force Arsenal down one side of the pitch. They've got 3v2. Go and make that contact that we saw last season. Go and make a tackle, put a foot in, make a foul if you need to. No, Arsenal comfortable inside Everton's penalty area. And this was Arsenal's problem, I thought. They weren't intense enough themselves. They weren't creative enough to try and force the issue. Everton win the ball back. Suddenly you've got to counter-attack from your own half. That's not as easy as Sean Dyche would have made out. And Arsenal started the attack again. That story happened over and over again today. And I thought Everton were miles off it.
And they are struggling at Goodison at the moment. Can either of you explain that? I mean, you've shown the contrast between Sean Dyche's first game in charge of Everton at home to Arsenal and today's game at home to Arsenal. The manager's the same. a lot of the personnel's the same on both sides as well.
Yeah,
Can you explain it?
For me, the biggest problem they've had over those course of games, they can't score goals. Goals don't come to Everton easily. I think if you go over the kind of the years when Leon was playing, whenever I was going there with Newcastle and with Spurs, they always had a top striker scoring goals, whether it was Zaha, or Lukaku when he was there, and so on and so forth. They haven't had that for a number of years now, and that's one thing. Today, they just lack that biggest thing that they've always had, which is the ability to get that crowd going. It was like a public,
energy.
It was like a public park.
Yeah.
I've never heard Goodison Park so quiet ever, and that's down to the way that they approach the game today.
Yeah, I mean, when Everton are saying they've not got a striker to get the ball into the back of the goal, and that's been an issue, but Everton didn't come out of their own half for large parts of this game. That is so unlike Everton teams I've ever been involved in, and it's a progression that the club seem to be moving further and further backwards on the field now as well, and that was so unlike a performance I've expected from Everton. I thought they'd come out on the front foot, get the ball wide, get crosses in, try and press Arsenal. If Arsenal play around you, so be it, but Everton were just far too passive right from the first whistle.
Dyche said there they've got problems at either end of the field. They are susceptible, it would appear at the moment, to a certain type of corner.
Well, yeah, I think, weirdly enough, it was Doncaster that kind of highlighted it in the League Cup against them. It was a short corners that was really catching them out. And it was the same again today. I think Arsenal just highlighted that Everton are very strong with balls just whipped into the box with players like Tarkowski and so on. You can see there they flood the 18-yard box but leave massive spaces on the edge. If Zinchenko takes a touch there and he can slide it to Bukayo Saka, then he would have had a shot on goal. Eventually comes out, they work it back round and they end up winning, so Pickford picks up the ball. Second corner, Ødegaard goes out again. Look at just Trossard here. It's interesting in his position because he just finds this little pocket of space, and I think 9 times out of 10, Ødegaard just slides that to him. For whatever reason, he's not quite spotted him, he puts in a ball. So Arsenal just trying to find a different angle. They're trying to move Everton around from their stable position. And this is exactly what they do here. So once that ball comes out onto the edge of the box where they should have someone anyway, Everton are now on the move. And this is where Arsenal at the best. 1- and 2-touch play. The finish from Trossard is absolutely sensational. And actually, from an Everton point of view, it's poor because it's 3 corners now they should have picked up on and haven't. From an Arsenal point of view, I mean, not only is it massive, but that's 2 games now. It's been the last 2 games that I've done of Arsenal.
Yeah.
The goal against Manchester United, where set pieces are having a massive impact in their season already in winning games. So it's something clearly they've worked on where they can see they can get huge gains. And already, the work of Arteta and his team in set pieces is paying off.
All right, so let me ask you the same question that I asked you 2 weeks ago, then, which is, if you see the same pattern over and over again, where's the responsibility? Is it for a player, or is it for a coach? Is it for an analyst? Where is it?
I think with the one at United, I felt like it was a mixed bag because they had the ability to go in at half-time, have a look at the scenario and say, we've got a problem at back post, let's sort it out. I think in this situation here, 2 of those corners happened in the space of about 5 minutes, or maybe even less, maybe 3 minutes. I think as players, if I can see 2 players on the edge of the box, alarm bells are ringing. And I'm going, somebody, you almost just need to threaten it even so that they don't play it. So I honestly believe it's the responsibility of the players to adapt and stop that.
I think it should be, and I think in our day it was, but I don't think that's the case now. I don't think players feel that they can make that kind of decision on the field. We've highlighted Everton have defended set pieces like that all season long. They were completely caught out against League Two Doncaster.
But shouldn't the message then get to in an era where everybody seems to have an earpiece in and there's coaching staff and analysts, shouldn't somebody get a message?
Well, of course,
to them?
and we're saying, can they change that on the field? Well, we're seeing game after game, Everton is still susceptible to that type of corner, and it's not being changed. No surprise that Arsenal did their work on it. It's no surprise that Arsenal scored that important goal from it.
Home certainly isn't where the heart is then for Everton. They've lost all 3 home league games this season. As it happens, all by a 1-0 scoreline. And even more damaging than that, the last time Everton scored more than once at home in the league was October 2022, almost a year ago.
I thought you were going to say when we were playing.
Well, the way they're going, it might carry on that long. But that was under Frank Lampard. So Sean Dyche hasn't even scored more than 1 goal at home in the league as the Everton boss, which is quite incredible. 26% possession against Arsenal, 1 corner, 1 shot on target. What did you make of their approach today?
Relatively negative, but obviously you're coming up against Arsenal, who are very neat and tidy in possession.
But they've got to show more than that, Jermaine, surely.
But they do, and that's the frustrating thing for me. You look at the players that Everton brought on today, and I was quite surprised to see Beto going off and to be replaced by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Look, if you're up against it, put the two big lads up top and go long. Play direct. Make it really uncomfortable. You're not going to outpass Arsenal on the ball. You're not going to outmaneuver them. You're not going to outsmart them. But just take it back to the old school. Do what we used to see in the olden days, where the ball goes direct, everybody squeezes up. The two centre-halves for Arsenal would not have enjoyed playing up front against playing at the back against Beto and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So that's what they needed to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
Take it back to similar to what Sean Dyche used to do while he's at Burnley with Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes. Make it an uncomfortable game. But it was frustrating to see him take those guys and take them off.
To use an old school phrase, if you're going to try and bully Arsenal, at least do it right.
Yeah.
Don't be half-hearted in your approach. So if you're going to have 26% possession and you're going to bypass the midfield and go long, do it properly and go long with purpose. And then what happens is you go long and direct. Then your back four can get on the halfway line. Your midfield three can squeeze. You can get nice man for man. You can get what we call the knockdown and the bits, the 50-50s. And you can create pressure. You can create momentum. Fans get on board with it. They like a tackle. Something's happening in the final third. You manoeuvre some free kicks. You manoeuvre some shots and some corners. And you can see where you're going. I thought that performance today, it was worrying because of where Everton are. Obviously, 5 games in, 1 point.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, because we've talked about Guardiola over the years. We've talked about Postecoglou this season. We've talked about De Zerbi. I just start to wonder now what someone like a Graham Potter with that group of players could do, because I think they're underperforming.
Also, the thing is, this sense of apathy around Goodison Park, that's the first game under new owners. Not that you would have known it.
But
there's no sense of excitement. There's no sense of what's round the corner.
But they lost. Who did they lose against? Fulham? Was it Wolves?
Yeah.
First 2 games?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to pick up some serious points now because you're 5 games in, your relegation battle. The games that are coming up off the top of my head, they've got Brentford away. That's not going to be easy. There's every chance that Brentford might win that game. Then I think they've got 2 home games on the spin. They've got Bournemouth and Luton.
Yeah.
You have to take 6 points from those 2 games. It's a must.
You boys won't need reminding. They only survived on the final day of last season. But 5 games into this season, how worried are you for Everton?
Very. Look, there's no real identity in the way that Everton are playing. Like we said before, if you go direct, go back to front and then squeeze up the pitch, that's an identity. That's a certain way of playing. At the moment, you don't really know what the game plan is.
No.
You know, get the ball out wide to Danjuma, get it out wide to Dwight McNeil. Put the ball in the box nice and early. They're not doing that either.
No, but there's no shame to losing to Arsenal because they are becoming quite a heavyweight force in the Premier League under Mikel Arteta. And as it happened, Leandro Trossard came off the bench, of course, for the injured Gabriel Martinelli to score the all-important goal. It's good, sort of like a training ground routine in some respects.
Well rehearsed.
Yeah.
Very well rehearsed. It's patient.
You can see the movement of all the players. They all know where they're going to be. They all know what they're going to do. Saka pulled that little cutback to Trossard, and he didn't even look, which means, look, they've worked on it. Look at Trossard's movement there, just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Never standing still, always on the move. Saka, always on the move.
That's a manager. That's a manager in Arteta.
Drilling them in.
Yeah, thinking outside the box, thinking, right, if we get wide free kicks and we get corners, are we going to get any joy by putting it direct into the box? No chance. So you've got to try and come up with little game plans, wide free kicks, short corners, etc., to try and manoeuvre the centre-backs into uncomfortable positions. It's a great training ground goal.
Patience was the key for Arsenal because earlier in the game they thought they had scored through Gabriel Martinelli, but it was disallowed. Let's speak to former Premier League referee Chris Foy, who's a regular on the show. Chris, always good to speak to you. So explain to us, why was this chalked off?
Yeah, it was chalked off because when Gabriel passed the ball to Nketiah, he was in an offside position. And, of course, Arsenal retained possession. They passed the ball around and Martinelli scored a goal. I think the fly in the ointment that confused a few people was when Gabriel passed the ball forward. It actually deflected off Beto. It wasn't a deliberate play. And people were thinking, because he's touched the ball, that makes him onside, which isn't the case. And the law's quite specific now when it talks about deliberate play deflection. There's the deflection. He comes back from an offside position in Nketiah. They retain possession in the attacking phase of play, and the goal is quite rightly disallowed. An excellent piece of VAR in that situation, Manish.
Yeah, and this is where we've got to make it clear. It's all about whether that touch was intentional or not.
Yeah, is it a deliberate play or is it a deflection? It's talking about, you know, coordinating your body movement, the distance the ball travelled was very short, limited time to react. So it's the right call.
Yeah.
Great use to VAR, that, isn't it?
That's what we want.
You wouldn't
right?
spot that in real time.
No.
Difficult.
In fact, you didn't spot it.
No.
I think very few people saw that.
What's intriguing is the initial pass, I think it was Gabriel, was looking to pass it out to the right back, Ben White. So the pass initially was going out to the right. Beto's touch took it directly through the middle of the pitch. So I was intrigued to know if that would have played any part of it, the direction of the pass. Chris?
No, it's not, Jermaine. It all talks about deliberate play or deflection, and that quite clearly was a deflection.
All right.
Okay.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. Arsenal fans will be delighted to see the back of Everton not ending their hoodoo.
Well, some beautiful one-touch passes before that goal was delivered. Just how good was the goal, Righty?
Yeah, it was a great goal, and it was something that I had to do because I think it would have been futile to continually put the ball into that box for Everton to continue to head it away. So for them to continue to take those short ones, and they built it up, and it was very well constructed in the end.
What impressed you most about it, Alan?
Just the way they moved it at pace, because that's I think was the thing that was missing in the first half, other than trying to make the pitch bigger, which they tried to do that, but also it was like moving 1-2 touch, because that's how you're able to beat a team that has a low block, that gets everyone behind the ball in numbers and tries to frustrate you. You do that and you beat it by moving the ball quickly.
Well, let's have a look at the goal, shall we, and just see exactly how it unfolded, because it was beautiful in the build-up, Righty.
Yeah, it was, but like I say, it was a short corner, and, you know, you want to pull them out. You want to pull them out of position. It's great play here from Fabio Vieira to keep it moving. And then from here, look how quickly they're passing it. Everton can't get near them. Everybody's just one step too slow. And that is what we said at half-time that they need to do, pass the ball quicker. It's just perfect. It's perfect that they got the opportunity to do it at a corner where they're already in that third of the pitch, passing the ball, great movement off the ball from everybody. And then Trossard with the outside. That's a fantastic finish, coming across him on his left foot. You know, it's very underrated, this finish. Brilliant. And then open his foot. That's fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant goal.
And from a defender's point of view, is there anything that the defence could have done better here?
No, but you know, it also comes down to the way your team is set up, right? You start the game, you know that you have to come back in the sense of the wingers for Everton, but then Trossard is one of the guys that comes on, and he wants to prove a point also, because when you're sitting on the bench, you always want to make sure that your manager gets a feeling like, listen, this is the guy that I might have to start the next time, and this is what Trossard kind of implement a little bit more pressure on him. Yeah, and with so much competition now in this Arsenal squad, how important was it that he delivered today? Well, it's important because, like the manager's saying, he wants to make sure that there's competition for places. It's what we're seeing with Raya and we're seeing with Ramsdale. You know, you want players playing at that level, knowing that when they come in, they have to bring something. They have to do something because, like I was saying, he needs something different. And what's got to happen is everybody's got to understand in this Arsenal side that they're all going to have to play a part if they're going to try and beat City, or whoever's going to, or I should say, to try and win it. So people have got to come in and they've just got to focus on what they're doing the best they can. And if it's good enough to keep other people out of the team, then brilliant. But other than that, I believe that whoever's playing well at the time, the form, get in the team. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting when you look at Arsenal now this season, it seems like they're finding to beat teams that perhaps might have been a bit more difficult in the past, but they have to have a plan A and plan B, and they've shown that they have that. Yeah, well, I think that's what we were trying to say before the game is that because they did really well last year, ultimately fell at the final hurdle, but I think a lot of people sort of expected that because of the size of the squad. But now he's got different options. Quality. He's certainly improved the squad, but he's also changing one or two things which he believes he has to do because they got so close last year that ultimately that wasn't good enough. So he has to go again and do it differently this time. City have gone again and improved again. So that's exactly what Arsenal do, and they might have to do it a slightly different way, and that's what he's trying to do. Yeah, it is. And also, I guess with Arsenal and where they're at, because of how successful they were last season, Mario, they're almost the team that other teams want to beat. So I guess psychologically, the game is approached slightly differently, and they seem to be handling that pressure well. Yeah, because they're very calm now compared to what we know. Like, okay, the best time of Arsenal is their calmness, right? And when they weren't that calm was when they were not as balanced the way you mentioned the names already. And now they have everything in place. So it comes down now, look, we looked at a game and you see in the middle of the park how they play the game, you know, Odegaard, Rice, how they control it and they're making sure that they keep the tempo really high. We have seen the game in the beginning and then the second game. And that was the difference. They always keep on penetrating. And I feel like when you always believe that you can score a goal, you will play to the last minute. And some teams stop. But Arsenal, similar to what Man City has, they will not stop to the last minute to make sure that they keep on scoring.
Now, in all of this, there's a few players we haven't actually spoken about at all. One of them being Declan Rice, who, of course, had a phenomenal game against Manchester United. But how good was he today?
Well, again, the fact that Declan's quiet and we're not speaking about him proves that he's gone about his job and he's done it very well. And that's exactly what he does. And what we saw against Man United when he got all those headlines, because he scored the goal, but he's been playing similar to that. Declan is 8.5, 9 out of 10 every week. And when he plays like he did this week, and he doesn't score, this is exactly what he done against Man United. He goes about it quietly and efficiently, stomps things out, progresses the ball, you know what I mean, defensively, he does everything. You're always going to get that out of him.
But is he not the perfect example? When people sometimes talk about captaincy of a team, right? They say, your captain is this. But he is, I think, a captain without the armband.
Yeah, he leads by he plays with his example.
You don't need the armband all the time to be the leader in the team.
This is one of the things we've got now, Mario. We've got a lot more. We've got a few more players in our team that are leader potential.
Yes,
they've got that kind of vibe about them. Whereas people used to always talk about us as we've got no leaders in our team. We've got a few now.
Yeah, and you've got more options as well, as you've been saying, including in the goalkeeping department. We saw David Raya start. We said that it was a big talking point before the match that Arteta chose to start him, and he kept the clean sheet. That's a big moment for the goalkeeper.
Big moment for him and a big moment for the manager, because it justifies what he's trying to do. I'm sure that Ramsdale would have been really disappointed to have been left out. Whether there's going to be the rotation in the Champions League, we'll have to wait and see. But I feel as if that's the one position where you need a regular, if you can, because of the understanding that you need to have with your back four, who and what you are, what you're going to do, the decisions that you're going to make. I mean, Mario will tell you more about that than I can, but certainly from a defensive point of view, I would think that. But this is what he did really well, without being spectacular, without pulling off. He actually gave his defence a lot of relief at times when he came to collect those balls. And for a defender, must have been that is fantastic to take the pressure off him.
You know why he's also saying it? There was a moment when I had to mark him, and I was happy when the goalkeeper came out, because you know, like when you're standing next to someone that is good in the air, like Alan was, I was holding him really close to me, right? But the thing was, you were happy when your goalkeeper comes above you. You're like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Because you know you don't have to do that battle. Yeah. Because those are things where they are waiting for, and you are coming as a defender. No matter what you do, you want to make sure it doesn't happen. And I think what he just said, the calmness for the defense is always to have security behind you. And you want to make sure that the change, it's nice to give somebody the confidence and play him, but you want to pick one to play all the time.
And I know what I was saying about, the familiarity, but if you've got two goalkeepers who are capable of coming and claiming those things, and that gives you that calmness. So then what you're hoping now is that it doesn't matter with the defenders which one of those goalkeepers they're using. Because what they know is that both of them, if it's there to come and claim, they'll do that. And that is where you feel you're most comfortable, when you know your goalkeeper is going to come and he's going to get it and he's going to calm everything down.
So we've got two big games coming up for Arsenal.
Yeah.
First game in the Champions League. I mean, the last time they were in the Champions League was 2016-17. So this is a massive moment for the club. And then the North London derby at the weekend. So what does the goalkeeping situation look like?
Well, it looks to me like Ramsdale will probably play on Wednesday against PSV. And then it will come down to then what Mikel's going to have to deal with now is every week, every other week now, people are going to be thinking, well, is it going to be Ramsdale or is it going to be Raya? You know, the main thing is that they're not different in the way they're doing it. So as it makes the defenders have to think differently. You know, that's the main thing. But it's going to be a question that Mikel's going to probably have all the time now. Well, who's he going to play on Wednesday, which I think could be Ramsdale. And I think that Ramsdale will probably play the week after.
I think all we've known in our careers, unless you can tell me something different, I can't think of many times where there's a football club rotated their goalkeepers week in, week out, whether it's Champions League or I know it might be different in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup or whatever, but in terms of the two most important competitions, the Champions League and the League, it'd be really interesting and fascinating to see what Mikel decides to do, whether he wants to, he goes for the method of trying to keep them both happy, which is going to be very difficult, or he says, no, from now on, you're my number one until you make a mistake, and then it's someone else's turn. We're about to find out.
We'll see this season. We'll see this season because to see how it works, you know, because if it is something that you have to fight two top goalkeepers in the same team going for all the prizes and see how he balances it out. It's going to be interesting to see.
But you know how we are as individuals. We want to play all the time. That is one thing that I want to make sure that everybody understands it, because it looks great, and if they keep on winning, people will not highlight it. But you as an individual, and you want to play all the time. Look,
they want to play in the big game.
Exactly, because when the big one comes on, you want to make sure, hey, coach, you pick me. Because if you don't pick me, you, regardless if the other one plays well, you want to be on the field to make sure that you're part of the group and not the one that's celebrating and clapping for the one that's doing well. No. I'm sorry, I don't want to be that. No.
Well, so, Mario, it's all fine margins, isn't it? Well, let's hope he watches this back, because he could learn a lot from what you've all just said. If you went with Raya for the Champions League?
It won't surprise me, because clearly he proved himself in the sense of the way he was playing, but the thing is that you just don't want it. I wouldn't want that as a player. That's me.
You know, we can't forget how great Aaron Ramsdale's been for us.
Yeah.
You know, so for Aaron Ramsdale to have an international goalkeeper as his number two, or whichever one you want to call one and two, it's fantastic for the both of them. It comes down to both of them having to be the best they have to be.
Would you like it being rotated when you were...
Exactly.
You know, it's easy,
that's the question now.
Yeah, but the thing is, I wouldn't like to have been rotated, but I wouldn't have got rotated.
But if I was playing, what would you say if you had to rotate with me?
It's a different time. It's a different time. Back then, I wasn't getting rotated, and maybe it might be me being a little bit big-headed. But the fact is, I didn't get rotated. I don't have to think about it.
If we were in the green room, he might give us a slightly different answer.
OK, so we've got two strikers with us. Al, who would you rather go up against, Raya or Ramsdale?
It wouldn't bother me. I'd still score.
Wow.
It's easy for us to say this now.
Oh my God. You see, now you understand. When I had to mark him, it's like I was married to him. You see what he said? And now you get it.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, it's brilliant. Well, so let's have a look at a couple of the talking points. Martinelli did get on the score sheet, didn't he? But Nketiah was offside marginally. Let's revisit that. What did we think of this?
Well, like I said before, you know, it's something that annoys me, watching players not get themselves back on side. It was something that when we played, it was one of the things that you, in training, you know, even when they were doing just the games, you said, get back on side. All you got to do is get yourself back on side, because that can happen. All of a sudden, the ball will come to you. You're on side, you link the play, and then this is a goal. And I think that the margins we're dealing with now is something they've got to get back to. They've got to get back to centre forwards. Once they've gone running an offside position, get yourself back on side as soon as you can, because that can happen. Simple.
Young is a very happy guy, at this moment. Young was very happy that that moment happened, because that pass killed him.
Well, we've had this whole sort of talking point and conversation about Nketiah or Jesus. Of course, Nketiah started today. I'm sure Jesus will probably start midweek. But what more do you want to see from Nketiah?
I think we'll continue to have the discussion to say, is he the elite? Is he the top draw striker that perhaps Arsenal need to go to that next level? Now, we'll keep on asking those questions, because it's important that when he gets the opportunity, like he has done again today, and the manager said, no, I'm having belief and faith in you, and I'm putting you in again, then he has to take those opportunities. And today, I just thought there were two or three occasions, one being the disallowed goal. There was a couple in that second half where I'm thinking, come on, get on the end of it, get into that 6-yard box and get that little tap in that all great strikers do. And it was just a split second where he was a little bit slow. So until he keeps or does that, then those questions are still going to be asked.
The thing is that you said earlier about the low touches, or is that something like seven touches?
Seven.
Simply because what he's got... OK. So Sorry.
So we're laughing because Righty's just been told,
just been told
that we have Leandro Trossard, and
okay.
he answered out loud, which is brilliant. That's what we love about life.
I love it.
Right, Leandro, it is absolutely wonderful to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. And how did it feel to be scoring the decisive goal in such an important game today?
Yeah, it's always nice to score, obviously. But yeah, we knew it would be a tough game today, and that we needed to take our chances. And luckily we did with my goal, and it gave us the 3 points.
Leandro, hi, it's Alan Shearer.
Hello.
We're just having the discussion about squad and rotation. Back in our day, myself, Righty and Mario, it's like we wanted to play and we insisted on playing. If we weren't playing, that we were happy. Is the mentality nowadays that if you're a top player, you perhaps have to accept that you're going to be rotated and be left out in certain games?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, everyone wants to play every game. But yeah, if you have a squad of 20 to 25 players who are all exceptional, it's hard to get everyone game time, obviously. But I think the competition pushes you as well, and obviously we have a great squad. So.
But this is Mario Melchior speaking, Leandro. But I saw your goal for Belgium, right? You scored an amazing goal, and then you come back in your team and you're not starting. Your confidence is, of course, very high. And I saw you hugging your coach.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel inside, my friend? I want to know that.
Tell us the truth.
Tell us the truth. I want to know what's cooking in that body, man. Tell me.
Happiness, of course. Like you said, I scored a great goal on the international, and I'm feeling good at the moment. I've been in preseason as well, and obviously I want to play. And the only thing where I can show I have to play more is on the pitch, and I think I've done that today. And I'm happy that I helped the team to get the 3 points.
Leandro, it's Ian Wright. I just wanted to ask about how frustrating the first half was. 78% possession. What are you thinking? Are you thinking we just got to keep doing what we're doing? We need to pass it quicker. What are you thinking? Because it's getting more and more frustrating.
Yeah, that we need to be patient. Obviously, we knew it would be a tough game and that they would defend the goal with their lives. And at one point, that the chances would come. And like I said, then it's up to us to take them and score a goal. And I think we defended the box really well as well today. And then, yeah, you can see 1 goal is enough to win a game, and we're really happy with it.
And Leandro, I mean, last season, we've been talking about it in the studio, Arsenal came so close. So how does it feel now this season, being that team that all of the others really want to beat? Does your preparation take a different course? What is it like?
No, I think it's quite similar. Obviously, we were so close, and we want to compete this season as well. And I think we added a lot of exceptional players as well, but obviously they're Declan, Timber obviously is now injured, unlucky, but Kai. I think we have a great squad to compete this season on all levels, and it's an amazing team spirit at the moment. Everyone is, I think, happy and pushing each other, and that's what is football all about.
Leandro, just a quick one. Do you ever look and see what Man City have done, if they've won or anything? Do you ever look and see, oh no, they've won again?
Yeah, you hear.
I knew he was going to laugh.
You obviously hear the scores, and if you don't see, you will obviously have a look at the other scores as well, so you always know before a game what they've done, or they have to play at the same time or something like that.
Do you feel pressure because of that? Do you feel like we have to beat Everton now because we have to stay amongst it with those 3 points? We have to get 3 points.
No, I don't think so. We want to win every game, and that's our approach every single match. That we want to win and take as much points as possible, and that's our thinking behind it.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Leandro.
No
Best
problem.
of luck in the Champions League midweek.
Thank you.
Well
Best
done,
of luck
Leandro. You're the
in
best.
the North London derby. Yeah, you made Brighton very happy.
Thank you.
Well, we spoke to Leandro, and you let us know that he was there. Thank you for that, by the way.
No worries.
We were talking about Nketiah, and I was talking about what he needs to improve on. How do you get those improvements out of him?
I think that what you saw today, like you was talking about being a low-touch striker, what happens is that when you get like this one here, that is for me a meat and drink one for a forward. You have to be gambling at this stage. He's on the right side here. From now, he's got to be moving already. He's got to be closer to that defender. this goes past that defender, so he's got to be at least sliding or something to finish that off. Those are the things that if you're low touch, then you've got to make it up in the box. Those are the places. Here, he's got to shoot there, Al.
Yeah.
I think the chances there, that's what you've got to do. That's kind of half chances. And when you've got someone like Jesus who's going to come on and probably who will start in front of you, every opportunity you get to take a half chance or get a shot on target, you have to take it, because that's the thing that's going to keep you in the team and keep people saying, well, Eddie's got to play. Because that's what they were saying before this game. He deserves his chance. But then when you see little things like we just pointed out there and what Al said about certain touches and certain finishes, you have to do those at this level.
It's almost like Ridey's saying, it's like you want the defender, as a defender, you want to panic. Panicking meaning that you don't know where he is because he's always there. And I think that is kind of a thing that if he wants to put pressure on the likes of myself, then you don't know where he is, but you always know he's around you. And that is always a problem for the defender to keep on thinking. And I think if he does that, it becomes way more enjoyable for himself.
And I guess that's something that will evolve for him. Is it coaching that will get that out of him, or learning from other strikers? How does he learn?
A bit of everything. A bit of watching other strikers, elite strikers, doing what they're doing in training. Also taking hints or coaching from the staff and Mikel Arteta. There's definitely a centre forward in there.
Without a doubt.
There's no doubt about it. He'll score goals at the highest level, but it's just those little tiny things when you get the opportunity to take them and to have that little bit of movement, then you have to do it. Otherwise, there'll always be that little question: Is he elite? Is he something different from a good striker to going to a very good striker?
What was going on there?
He didn't get it.
I'm very confused by the ending to that. One thing I will say is that Arteta has managed this group of players, this squad, incredibly well because of the rotation we have seen. He seems to still be getting the best out of the players.
Yeah, he is, and I think the players understand what he wants. There's a winning mentality that's going throughout the club, and everybody who comes in, he expects them to do their job. And like he said there, you know what I mean, he just wants the players to compete very hard for their place. And if you're playing well, you'll get a chance. Yes, you're going to have to wait. Some people might be knocking on the door, but you're going to have to wait. But then when you do get the chance, then you have to take the chance. That's how it should be at that level of a team that's trying to achieve what they're trying to achieve. That's how it should be.
And earlier on, Alan, you were talking about time being one of the most precious commodities in this game because you quite simply don't have it. But one thing Arteta has been given with this team is a bit of time, hasn't he? He's been given a bit of time to really get to know the players, bed them in, and it seems to be paying off. How much praise does he deserve for the way he's handled?
Yeah, but you have to be showing a sense of purpose, a sense of adventure, and a sense of we're actually achieving something. Yeah. And there's no doubt that Arsenal are doing that, and Mikel is doing that. I think month after month, season after season, they're getting better, they're improving. He's had to change one or two things in the summer, and he hasn't been afraid to have done that, because he realises to challenge and to go to the next level and win the Premier League, something has to change, and it has to be different, because they tried it very hard last year. They came very close, but ultimately they didn't get what they wanted. He now wants to do that again, but he wants to get over that final hurdle again. I mean, it's going to be difficult because they're up against a very, very good team and manager in Man City. In a way, they're slightly unlucky that in this era they've come up against City, who are so great and who have been dominating for so long. Because in other seasons he would have won that. But he deserves a lot of credit, because you can tell he's not frightened to make big decisions, and you have to do that as a manager.
Yeah, you have to be brave, you have to be bold as a manager, don't you? And you think about Manchester City setting the bar. Obviously, the teams that are vying for top four, they have to live up to those standards, don't they, if they want to make it into the top four? And also because you think about Man City, Liverpool, they're there or thereabouts. Brighton will be up there. Manchester United potentially Chelsea, I don't know. But Arsenal for sure, you would think would... Newcastle. I was getting to that.
I knew it was going to say that.
Saving the best. But they have to keep raising their levels because there's so much competition, is what I'm trying to say.
But they kind of answered us a little bit in a way. I think the Declan Rice moment was kind of the biggest answer for us to understand what their objective is. In the sense of hey, if we're going to go, because normally Arsenal was not the team of going for that kind of price tag, but they did not want to lose out because they already had it with Mudryk, where they kind of felt okay, someone came in front of us, Chelsea. And then now they said that's not going to happen again when Man City came in. So I think watching them, Arteta has a team. He has built a team that you can see that they all, we talked about it before, about the connection to him, that they like him and they enjoy working with him. But also, his character was also about winning. Like playing against Everton was almost playing against him. Yeah. So that's why we knew what kind of player he was. And as a manager, I don't think he's any different.
So looking ahead, Righty, Champions League, PSV, got Spurs in the North London derby, and then Manchester City. Yeah. Some big games coming up.
Well, those are three games. I wouldn't say the PSV game so much because it's the Champions League game. It's the first one. We're not really into the meat and bones of it yet. But that's a big game for Arsenal still. But then, obviously, Tottenham, in Tottenham's form at the moment, which is very, very good. So the derby is going to be unbelievable. Then, obviously, Manchester City, who I believe, if Arsenal have got serious intentions of winning the league, they're going to have to beat them at least once. They're going to have to beat them because they're going to have to beat them and then they have to beat the teams around them and hope that other teams are able to cause Man City problems as well. Because if they don't beat them at least once, then it's going to be very, very difficult to do it. You have to get something from them and you've got to make sure that you build the momentum and the confidence in the team. So by the time you get to them, which I'm quite pleased that they dug this one out and they're going to get through PSV and then they're going to get to City and we're ready for it after Tottenham. After Tottenham, then it's City. We've got to be ready for that game because we've got to understand you have to get something from City. We have to beat them at least once in this season. We have to beat them.
2 huge home games coming up for Arsenal. OK, let's head straight back to Goodison Park, shall we, and hear from the Everton boss.